homeowner and you're struggling to pay your mortgage, stop listening to people who don't and never have had a mortgage. That includes the voice in your head that is thinking like a renter. That also includes the thousands of people that are online complaining about being a homeowner and how a mortgage is just like renting. Cut all that bullshit out. Like, cut all of that noise completely out.
Church, South Georgia Realtor is speaking the gospel. Stop listening to these folks on YouTube. They ain't never had a house. They ain't never paid no bills. Now, let me stop playing. I can't paint everybody with the broad brush, but a lot of you guys out there are straight trolls. You've never been a homeowner and you don't know what you're talking about. So she's telling you the truth. You, me, everyone, we have to do our due diligence and make sure you're getting information from people that are at where you're trying to be or have gone through a situation that you are currently going through. Talking about foreclosures. Everywhere on these internet streets, you're going to hear folks talking about foreclosures are up, foreclosures are up. Stay tuned to the rest of this video, and I'm going to give you the real data about foreclosures. But if you find yourself in that position, also watch the rest of this video so that you can get some tangible things that you need to do, because you have to move. You can't sit still and hope, wish, and call on the Lord to get you to do what he's ordained for you to already do. Hi, my name is Robert, and on this channel, we simplify the home loan process. Let's get back to the South Georgia Realtor so she could give you some tangible steps so that you could be proactive if you find yourself in this situation.
These are the people that you need to be talking to. Number one, you need to be talking to your loan service provider. Whoever you are paying your mortgage to every month, that's who you need to be talking to. Stop avoiding their calls. Have a conversation with them. There may be so many other options for relief than just burying your head in the sand and not answering their calls and trying to figure out how you're going to pay 20 or 30 or maybe even just $5,000 to $10,000 in back mortgage. And when you have that conversation with your loan service provider, you want to be clear about a couple of things. The first thing you want to be clear about are your options. What are your options? Because it's not just as simple as, oh, you didn't pay your mortgage, we're going to take your house. That's not how it works. So you want to talk to your service provider about what are my options if I can't pay my mortgage? Like, is there anything that y'all can do for me? Is there any arrangements that can be made? How much do I actually owe? All of those things. Number two, you want to talk to a realtor. Not no money hungry, I'm trying to sell your house by any means necessary realtor, but a realtor that's actually knowledgeable about the market and is not trying to force you to sell. That is going to give you information about your options in this market. This realtor needs to be willing to sit down with you and show you comps, show you properties that are selling right now, show you what they're selling for, and how long it's taking to sell those properties. They should come to you with those stats. Number three, you need to talk to a bankruptcy attorney. Just do it. Like, I don't know why bankruptcy is such like this bad word, but you need to talk to a bankruptcy attorney so you understand your options. Because a lot of times, if you're in a state like Georgia can take your house in 30 days. If you don't pay them, they have a deed on your house. We'll talk about that later, because I already done confused a lot of people about the difference between a mortgage and a deed. But nonetheless, if you're in a state where they can move fast and take your house, you need to talk to a bankruptcy attorney, because that's going to be the only thing that can stop them if you don't have time. And doing that, putting that legal action in place may either give you time to decide, okay, is this the right route, or do I need to pull that bankruptcy back and do X, Y, Z, okay? So loan service provider, a realtor, and a bankruptcy attorney. Those three people you need to be talking to. And you need some good ones. Like, don't just be desperate and, oh my God, I got to figure it out. I'm going to talk to the first person. No, vet these people, because these people are helping you make a life-changing decision.
So what say you guys? Do you agree with her 3 options that she's laid out? If you have an additional or other options that she may have not touched on, put them down in the comment section. You know, we're a community here, and as we all learn and move together, we all can benefit if any one of us falls into an unfortunate situation such as this. Before I go forward, I also want to reiterate, here's the deal, man. Life be lifing. If you find yourself in a situation like this, don't go down with the ship. Number 2, this is a period of time. It doesn't make you a bad person, but you don't want to exacerbate the problem. No one wants to be in this situation. My heart goes out to you if you are, but if you're there, move. So again, get down in the comment section, please. Offer any other options that you think would be viable and helpful for the community. One thing I wanted to hit on before we move forward, because she did an excellent job, shout out to you, the Southern Georgia Realtor. Her contact information or the video will be in the credit section of the description of the video. But she spoke about the process, the foreclosure process. So let me demystify that a little bit just from a 10,000 foot view. And if you guys would like a deep dive, let me know in the comment section. And that might be something that we do for the member section and do a deep dive if you subscribe to that membership. So this is how it works. Typically, as soon as you're 91 days late, 90 days or more late, past due on a mortgage, this is what starts the foreclosure process, okay? So the first thing you're going to get is a lender notice, a notice from your lender, or an NOD, notice of default. And it officially starts or brings your loan, your home loan, into the foreclosure process. The notice may be recorded publicly or it may be mailed to you directly. It just depends on what state you're in. Now, there's a grace or a reinstatement period in many states. As she was saying, in Georgia, you could be up out of there in 30 days. So this is why information is very important, along with implementation. You have to move. You can't be afraid. You can't have the deer in the headlight type stance, because time is of the essence. So depending on your state, will determine what the grace period or the reinstatement period can be. Then you have what's called pre-foreclosures. Now the home is considered in pre-foreclosure if you've gone through those first steps. And your lender may reach out and try loss mitigation options, repayment plans, loan modifications, or if it's to that point, even a short sale. A lot of short sales happen after the housing market crash back in 2008 to 13, which in my professional opinion, we are nowhere near. We'll deal with that here in a little bit. Let me stay on point. Here recently, during the situation that we had a couple of years ago, a lot of people had payment plans or loan modifications. And some of you guys may have forgotten. If you get ready to sell your home, you might have, like she said, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 on the back end. If that's the case, it's because you had prior issues and the lender reached out and tried to get a modification for you for a win-win. Okay. But then if that doesn't work, then we're going to the auction, either the trustee sale or sheriff's sale. If things can't be resolved, then your home will be auctioned off. Then there's a sale and repossession at auction. I remember back during the housing crash of 2008, you had some people living in these homes for 5, 6, 7 years, not making any payments. Kind of sounds like that student loan thing we had a couple of years ago, right? And these folks still couldn't get on their feet. I digress. But nowadays, I think it'll be a lot quicker because there is a shortage of inventory. Don't let anybody fool you. There's not enough homes for the folks that are willing to purchase them. A lot of folks are just on the sidelines because of affordability, not necessarily with the home so much, because that has corrected itself along with interest rates, but the ancillary costs, right? Because everything is up. Food, air, water, everything's up across the board. Then the eviction process happens. The former homeowner sometimes can remain in the property. There were a lot of programs, cash for keys, because the underlying asset, the bank doesn't want these houses sitting still. They make their money off of the interest payments. It's not the devil and it's not a conspiracy. It is what it is, because we all sign these things. We have to get to a level of accountability and stop playing the victim so we can understand what's going on. But as it pertains to foreclosures, this is how it works. And last thing that you want to understand, that there is a negative impact on your credit. And depending on the type of loan that you do, there's certain time frames that you have to remain on the sideline. Conventional, FHA, VA, USDA all have different time limits based upon the discharge of either this foreclosure or, she alluded to it, bankruptcy, if you go that route. These situations tend to bring out the worst in us. This next young lady is going to go over a situation, and the reason I want to show it is because family is very important, and family is not necessarily those that came out of the same pot of gumbo that you came out with, right? The older I get, the more I'm really focused on what the scriptures say. You judge a tree by the fruits that it bears. And so in this next scenario, the point is this: watch who you get into business with, okay? Because when times get rough, real character of people come out, and foreclosures are rough times. Check it out.
Y'all, life update. The bad news is that my mom's house is going on foreclosure, and I'm sad about it. Even though I'm not going to be here, it's just still sad, the fact that my mom is literally like 54 years old and her house is going on foreclosure. And I think she been knew about it. She just told me like 3 days ago. And she told me, she was like, hey, she came in my room. She was like, oh, you need to get your dad to sign this paper. If he doesn't sign this paper, the house is going to go on foreclosure. So I guess the house is not on foreclosure just yet until the 18th if my dad doesn't sign this paper. And I was like, what's the paper for? Because my dad's not going to sign a paper he doesn't know nothing about. She was like, oh, that's none of y'all business. So why do you want him to sign a paper he doesn't know nothing about? So I'm guessing it's either to refinance the house. I don't really know. But she said that he had to go to the bank with her and they got to sign this paper, and she didn't want me to tell my dad about it. So you know what I did? I told my dad about it, because at the end of the day, you cannot expect him to sign a paper he doesn't know nothing about. You know what I'm saying? I told my dad that the house is going on foreclosure. She doesn't want you to know nothing about it, because at the end of the day, the house is on my dad's name too. So if the house is going on foreclosure, and if the bank has been giving you so much chances, why are you not letting him know this? You just want him to sign a paper out of the blue without telling him nothing about the paper. So my dad said, thank you for telling him and stuff like that. He's glad I told him, because she wanted me and my sister not to tell my dad. But it's like, come on now. You wouldn't want that stuff to be done to you. So I'm going to do the right thing. And my dad only speaks Creole, and he knows English, but he doesn't know how to read in English. So he's not going to be able to sign the paper. And I feel like if I lie to my dad about it, that's even messed up. Like, obviously, you can't afford this house. It's probably time. God is telling you to let go of this house. And they gave you so much chances. It's going to be like 8-9 years we've been in this house. And I'm forever grateful for my mom for holding it down. But it's like, it's just like a wake-up call for her. And who I do feel bad for is my siblings and my mom. At the end of the day, me and my mom's relationship is not the best. I still love my mom at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? I just don't I don't care about fixing it anymore. Like, I don't really care about that. But like, because, you know, I'm going to be in Dallas, Texas. And it's low-key sad that my mom's going to be going through this stuff, and my siblings, my younger siblings, and my nieces and nephews. It's crazy and it's sad. But yeah, y'all, the house is not in foreclosure yet, but the bank told her they're going to give her until the 18th. And I don't really think my dad is signing the paper. Hopefully he changes his mind. But I told him the truth, what the paper is for. So that's up to him. And before y'all say, oh, why haven't y'all been helping? Y'all, the house was been behind. I just found out about the house being behind, but she owes a lot of money to the bank. Like, it's extremely behind. So that's why it's going on foreclosure now. And didn't I tell you guys how the child support hit last year, November, $33,000, and she took $15,000. And at the time, I think the house was like already $15,000 behind. She could have used that money towards the house, but she decided not to, and she spent all the money.
Crazy work. I want to be balanced, because I know someone out there is going to say, well, why are you always just showing the women? I've seen it with women as well as men. It gets grimy when things get to a point where your real character is going to show up. And the definition to me is this: when nobody's looking, when it gets tough, what you do is who you really are. And so the lesson here is this: know that, okay? Because in times like these, you need to know those that labor amongst you. I don't put it on the young lady. She's a child. But you just got to understand what's going on. I'm dealing with a situation right now, and I'll be very cryptic in the event that the folks are watching. But gentleman living in this house that was an estate sale, you got to see, I thought the house was condemned, and he was actually living in the house. And now the kids, they think that there's some money, and they acting a plumb fool. Blows my mind. And so this is a little aside, just a little nugget for those of you that want to grab onto it. You reap what you sow, man. And the love of money is the root, as my mama would say, the root of all evil. So just want to throw that out there. I always want to make you think. What do you guys think about this situation? Better yet, if you've heard or seen or experienced some situations that you don't mind sharing, get down in the comment section and let us know. Again, the more information that we can get here in this community could possibly help someone going through or prevent, because I'm about preventative maintenance, prevent some of these younger folks coming down the line that are behind us from making some of these mistakes. Let's wrap up the video, okay, with this last lady that is going to just hear her heart from what she's really saying, and then I'll give my final thoughts and let you guys go.
So there are some homeowners right now who are struggling to make their payments. And sometimes when you're overwhelmed and it's tight, a lot of times it's easy to just bury your head in the sand. A lot of people are getting ready to lose their homes. Some people feel good about just not having that responsibility, but check out your options, because what's to come with housing, you want to make sure you have yours. You want to make sure you have yours. You don't want to be in a situation where the landlord is jacking up rent and you're paying even more. So don't just let it go. If you can find other options, and I know it's rough for a lot of people, there are other options where you can sell and still make a profit. Talk to someone, and talk to someone that specializes in mortgages. Sometimes we talk to family and friends and they do not know what they're talking about. Honestly, if I was anybody and I could stay in my place, I would stay. I would stay. When you're in a position where you don't have your own, you are subject to whatever your landlord wants, however they increase it with no justification. And if your state doesn't have any regulations, you're stuck. So please reach out to other resources and options and have your ducks in a row.
Yeah, so I agree with 1,000%. It's best, if at all possible, for you to have your own, or stated differently, control all that you can control. In this time, 2025 and going forward, a couple of realities that we all have to deal with. Prices are going to increase. Why? They keep printing money. Number two, all of these entitlement programs that everybody wants to hold on to, the money has to come from somewhere. And I don't want to waste a lot of time and energy waiting and wishing and hoping for those folks up in DC to look out for me, because they're looking out for themselves. And the proof is in the pudding. So for folks that think like me, here's the deal. The Lord is my provider. I really have faith in that. And because of that, I'm going to continue to produce and be the best that I can be, diversify streams of income, but all those things come with work. Trabajo for my Latin speaking or Spanish speaking people. Hopefully I got that right. And so that's just something that you have to come to terms with. Taxes ain't going nowhere. The system is what it is. But when I look globally, when I pull back the lens and look globally, I'm one of the best, you're one of the best blessed people on the planet when we look at it from those lens. So now, foreclosure, let's summarize this thing. Resounding, speak to someone, say something, but not these folks on the internet, not your auntie, your uncle, not folks that don't know what they're talking about. Okay, start with your loan servicer. Find out about any options that they might have. One thing I would say, even in that situation, if you've already gone through a modification and life is lifing, right? Your income is stopped or what have you, you can't go anymore, then you need to sell. Live to fight another day. You see what I'm saying? Because obviously you can do all these things, but at some point in time, you have to be able to make the payment. If you can come together with family, do so. 2 is better than 1. Nothing wrong with that. I've done several videos on multi-generational living. As we go forward, I think we're going to see more and more of that. this is why it's very important to raise them in the way that they should go. Because if we all have to be in the same space, everybody has to understand their position. Last thing I want to deal with, I'm going to show a couple of charts because foreclosures, in my opinion, are not going through the roof. I'm going to show you the actual data. And there's some states that have an increase year over year. But again, when we pull the lens back and look historically, we're nowhere near where we were even from 2009 to 2013. So as of October 2025, these are the foreclosure activity reports by state. And this company, Attom, ATTOM, they're a company that aggregates all of this information as far as the housing market is concerned. The top 10 states, all right, as far as the foreclosure activity is concerned, number 1 is Florida, 2 South Carolina, 3 Illinois, 4 Delaware, 5 Nevada, 6 Ohio, 7 Iowa, 8 Maryland, 9 is going to be Utah, and 10 California. Those states in the red. So sounds ominous. It sounds like a good headline to get a lot of folks afraid. But when you really drill down, here's the deal. Even with Florida, right? You're looking at total foreclosure filings for the state, okay? And so 1 in every 1,800 people, right? 1,829 households. For every 1,829 households, there's a foreclosure. Really not a lot of numbers, okay? It's up 19%. So there's an upward trend that people may look at. And then year over year, it's up. But when you look at these numbers historically, and this is where I want to go with this, okay? If you look, and this is the U.S. foreclosure rate by year, and 2005 to 2025 is the range, you see. And so when you look at the foreclosures, this is 2009, right? 2008 is in here. And the height of foreclosures would have been around 2010, okay? And that was the height. And then this is where you started the downward trend that we've been on up until 2021. And then we have a bounce. So when we're looking at foreclosures, we're not even back. You're not even back to what? 2019 levels. You're still very low historically. We don't want to minimize the increase, but as I said earlier in the video, it's a process to foreclosure. It's just not I'm foreclosed in day 91, and there's options. Moreover, there's a lot of equity in a lot of homes if you bought right. Now, if you got caught up between 2023 and 2025, some of these salesmen out here saying date the rate, buy the house and all that foolishness, well, then you may be in some of these markets that have dealt with not only higher foreclosures, but a correction in the price, meaning you may have bought at the top of the market. And this is what I'm telling folks. The best time to have bought a home, okay, was from 2010 all the way down to 2021. Okay, because the market was going down. This was the time that I'm telling people to buy homes, and I'm waiting. I'm waiting for house prices to go back to 1990. They're not going back. It's called inflation. I'm waiting. And a lot of people missed out because none of us knew what was going to happen as far as the pandemic was concerned, and the flight to safety, assets, homes, people moving around wanting to have freedom for whatever reason. And because of supply and demand, assets shot through the roof. Well, we're not going back to these prices in 2019. When it comes to foreclosures, everybody's not going into foreclosures. Those that can't afford the home are going into foreclosure. And this inflation environment is just finding the weakest links, if you will, respectfully. Some of these folks should have not been homeowners, but during this time where a lot of money was being printed and a lot of mortgage-backed securities were being bought and the rates were held artificially lower, it allowed people to get in. But then when the inflation went up and the way these taxes are calculated. Now people are having to deal with higher taxes, higher food, higher gas. Insurance companies, because of all of the natural disasters, they pass those costs on to us. All these things are baked into the cake. Here's the deal, guys. If you've been waiting to buy, now is the time to find out where you really stand. And like everyone said, you want to reach out to someone that knows what they're talking about. My contact information is in the description below. We'd love to have that conversation to see if we can move forward, because ownership is at stake. And you don't want to be beholden to people playing with your life. Just look at this shutdown that we just went through. Look at all the people that were in limbo about their food. Control what it is that you can control. And that's the best position to be in and the best way to live. My time is up, but I thank you for yours. As I always say, guys, let's be good to one another. Let grace abound. Check out these 2 videos here. I think they'll be good for you to watch. And until the next time, indeed, y'all stay blessed.